if you are a follower of my page because we agree on a great deal of subjects, but we disagree on religion, I'm going to say some things in this video that you might not like. Just giving you that heads up. I'm going to be blunt with how I feel about something. Let's roll this video.
Question for the online atheists. If God's not real, then who am I praying to? Second one, who is answering my prayers?
Nobody and nobody. So you asked first, who, if God isn't real, who are you praying to? You're praying to whatever your mind interprets God to be. Just because you pray to something doesn't make it real. Millions of people pray to different deities and different gods around the world, across the globe, every single day. That doesn't mean that they're all real. You were taught something about what a god is, what a god looks like, what a god does. That's what exists in your mind, and that's what you're praying to. At the end of the day, you're praying to your own brain because your brain is the one that interprets what God is. And the person sitting next to you might have a completely different interpretation of what that God is. So the answer to your first question, then who am I praying to? Nobody. The answer to your second question, and if God isn't real, who's answering my prayers? Once again, nobody. Because your prayers being answered isn't a thing. Now, you could say, well, I prayed for X, Y, and Z, and X, Y, and Z happened. That's called a coincidence. If prayer worked, I want you to think about this logically. If prayer worked, nobody's grandpa would get sick. Nobody's dog would die. Right? Everybody would win the lottery. Your loved ones would never, ever pass away. People are praying for people not to pass away, for their illnesses to be healed, for the promotion at work, for their spouse to stop beating them. People pray for shit all the time. And those prayers go unanswered because nobody is listening. When I was a child, before I became an atheist, I was being raised in not an overtly religious family, but a family that was, with most of my mom's family around where I was being raised, it was predominantly of the Catholic faith. My mom's family were Catholic Sicilians. When my mother started beating me at the age of 8, when her and my father got a divorce, I, at that point in time, was not an atheist yet. I still listened to what I was told by the adults in my family, that God is real and we need to pray to him, or we're going to go to a heaven, or if we do bad, we're going to go to a hell. And then I started taking daily beatings. Not whoopings, not, over somebody's knee with a belt. Beatings. Okay? Beatings. At the age of 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. I finally ran away from home at 13, and that's the last time I got beat by her. During that period of time, I prayed for it to stop. Because I still believed what my mother told me, and my aunt told me, and my grandparents told me, which was God is real, Jesus is real, everybody, they're watching everything you do. And so I did the logical thing. I prayed for my beatings to stop. And they didn't. They only intensified year after year. The older I got and the bigger I got, the harder she hit. My beatings didn't stop because a deity stepped in and said, "Hey, this is bad. I need to protect this individual that I created." My beatings stopped because I grew a sack and got the fuck out. You're praying to nobody. and nobody is answering your prayers. If praying helps you be a better person, then pray, man. No big deal. Nobody gives a shit if you're using your time to pray. I don't even give a shit if you pray in public, right? You want to go to Chili's tonight with your girlfriend and have dinner, and before you consume that meal, you stop for a moment of prayer. Man, do you. Do you. But if you want us to answer your question as to who are you praying to and who's answering your prayers, that is a resounding nobody, man. Nobody. You didn't come from there. You came from there. We are of the earth. Period. Every single thing that you can pick up, see, touch, feel, spray bottle, pencil, a back scratcher, highlighter, piece of paper, this is all of the earth. And it's all going back to the earth. Pray if it makes you feel better. But if the answers that we provide aren't the answers that you like, then you should probably stop asking the questions. Because you're not praying to a damn thing other than your own interpretation of whatever God is to you. Let me just put a little PS on this. If there is a God and he is listening to prayers and he is allowing some of the evil that happens in this world to occur, if he is allowing children to starve in Africa, if he's allowing children to be trafficked across Europe, if he allows a 9-year-old to get beaten by his own mother, then he's no God I want to worship. He's no God I ever want to pray to. If there is a God and he allowed what happened to me to happen to me when I didn't do a goddamn thing other than be born, sorry, I bared my father's resemblance, I bared my father's name, and I had a soft spot, an affection for my father. And for those reasons, my mother really didn't particularly care for me and took out her anger on me. If there's a God above and he allowed that to happen to me, then with all due disrespect, fuck your God. Fuck your God and everything he stands for. If he allowed that to happen to me for no fucking reason. I endured 6 years of physical abuse. I've told the story in other videos. Towards the later years, when I became bigger, one of my mother's favorite types of punishment was to have me put my arms behind my back, and she would use them as a shield, right? My torso would be here, and my arms would be back here, and she would lift me up on my tippy toes so she could drive her fist into my lower back. She was over 6 feet tall, built like the wife of a Russian beet farmer. I was getting that at 12. And he allowed that to happen? If he's real, which I don't think he is. But if he's real and he allowed that to happen, yeah, fuck your God. Fuck your God.